This is Supersize your Blackboard Collaborate office hours. We are going to talk about a few other things other than office hours, but mostly it's going to concentrate on the office hours. I'm Jenna Underwood. I am the retention specialist for the nursing department, which means my job is to help nursing students get the knowledge they need to survive the nursing program, which I'm sure you guys have heard is tough, and be able to pass the NCLEX, the licensure exam, on the first try. So I spend most of my days in office hours meeting with students on a regular basis. So I thought I would show you guys some of the things that I do to make my office hours a little more effective, a little more fun, that sort of thing. So the first thing we're going to talk about is maybe some good practices and some etiquette for office hours. You do want to be wary of recording because as you're recording, you want to make sure that nothing sensitive slips in there or anything like that, remembering that anyone who can access the office hours can also access those recordings, and you want to make sure of that. So I try not to record anything in my office hours. If I'm going to do something like a tutoring session or something like that for a whole group of students, I try to make a different session for that and make it very clear that this is going to be recorded and not to say anything that is of a private, personal nature. In general, I'm sure you guys already know, you want to be very flexible about how you're doing things this time of COVID, and in general, you know, things just happen with our internet and that sort of stuff. So just be really flexible. And just like your regular office hours, you're going to want to let the students know if you won't be there, or you'll need to reschedule or something like that. Send out a blast email, or at the very least, put a sign up in your office hours or something like that. You also want to know the difference between sharing your entire screen and sharing an application. Is there anyone who doesn't know the difference between sharing their screen and their application, and why you would want to do one or the other? All right. I'm going to assume that the quiet means that you guys know. I'm just going to point out that if you're going to click on a link that's going to open up another window, then you will want to be sharing your entire screen. But if there may be something of a sensitive nature on your screen, like in the tabs of your Chrome or something like that, you want to make sure that you're not sharing your entire screen then, okay? Do turn on your cameras when you do your office hours. It really, really changes the way people perceive you. It lets your students really have a more personal connection with you. So turning on your cameras is a big, huge yes. Do use the attendance records, and if anyone doesn't know how to get their attendance records on their Blackboard Collaborate Ultra sessions, let me know. It's great for documentation, for your records, that sort of stuff. I send a record to my other faculty of if there are students who met for specific reasons, that sort of thing. So using your attendance records is a great way of being able to do that quick and easy, because you can download them to Excel, you can have it as a PDF, any number of things.
Hi, Jenna.
Hi, yes.
Hey, I was in your session in the summer. You actually did a super job on this Blackboard.
Oh, yay, thank you.
Oh, it was very good. However, I forgot how to get to the attendance. We don't have to do it right here, but I would like to reach out to you and have you show me how to do it again.
I would be glad to do that. I am in the, what do you call it? In the thing on your Outlook, the address book on the Outlook. Everybody calls me Jenna, but the actual name's Jennifer Underwood. And you're welcome to do that. And if we have time, we'll go through how to get to those attendance records today.
Thank you much.
And I'll summarize that for you as well, Jenna.
Awesome. Do you do know your Blackboard Collaborate Ultra tools? And so we are going to go through some of them. A lot of what we're going to go through is maybe some things that you haven't used as much. First thing we need to talk about is the difference between a recurring session and a one-time session, and why you might want to use either one. So the recurring session, you only need one link, and that same link is a durable link. So if you've set up a guest session, which Mr. Skoulios was talking about earlier, then that guest session, that link will always be good for going into those that particular session, even on other days. One setup and you're done. But remember that means that it must be a nice regular time. You can't be kind of hit or miss on things if you're doing a recurring session. And one of the great things that I've found is that if there are files that I end up needing on a regular basis to share, they're always available in there if I have it as a recurring session. One-time sessions are great because you can make the title very specific to its need. And the student knows exactly, okay, I want to go to that one because I'm going to see them for this reason or whatever. They can occur at irregular times. So this is a great thing, like a student can't meet you in your normal office hours. So you set up a one-time session just for that student at a time that you wouldn't ordinarily be available. And then you can load files that are just specific for that particular session, and you don't have to worry about getting that file overload where you've loaded files and you've loaded files and you've loaded files, and now you have to page through pages of files to try to find the one you want to share. So in setting up those, I am going to see, there we go. This is my Blackboard Collaborate. And in setting up those office hours, you can just hit create session. And when you are hitting that create session, you'll title it. And then if you want it to be recurring,
Jenna, we can't see your screen.
You can't see my
screen. It's not showing your current screen, Jenna.
All right, thank you. Let me see if I can. I thought I had it sharing the entire screen, so give me one moment. All right. So let's do, I thought that, okay. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Awesomeness. I may have to go back and forth on stopping sharing because it doesn't seem to be like Blackboard Collaborate where I can share my entire screen and just keep and go back and forth. So if you're going to do this, you'll give the start date and time, of course, and then you'll hit that repeat session. And then you can say, maybe you have it on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you can do that, and you can repeat it however often, every 2 weeks, every week, and then you can choose when you want it to occur, to end. You can either end it on a date or after a certain number of occurrences. And then, of course, all the rest of what you're saying, what we do, which is that changing the early entry and deciding how early you want students and other people to be able to get in. That includes you. So if you want to be able to get into it super early, say you always arrive to class half an hour early or something like that to set yourself up, then you need to allow the early entry enough time for you to also be able to enter. One of the things that I also talk about, so let me get back to my thing, is the next thing we were going to talk about is setting up privileges. So in this little session settings thing, you can set up your privileges on how you want students and other people to enter. So the default attendee, when I do my office hours, I like my default attendee to be a presenter. The participant is what your students are normally set as, and that doesn't give them any screen sharing capacities or anything like that. So you may want, depending on whether you want them to be able to share their screen or something like that, depends on whether you want to give them a different role. I like presenter. That way, if the student is running into problems with something on their computer, I can say, can you show me on your screen? And I can walk them through how to share their screen so that I can help them with their computer issue or with whatever math problem they're working on or whatever.
Jenna?
Yes.
You can also, if you do not set it there during a session, you can always go into that setting and change it and assign it to a specific student.
And I was going to do that. Mr. Schoolios, you're ahead of me, always. So yes, you can also, if you've set them as a participant and you suddenly discover that you need them to share their screen, you can change it inside Blackboard Collaborate also. This is where you also can allow a guest access, and we're going to talk about guest access in a moment, but again, you can change what their level is if they are using the guest link, whether they come in as a participant, a presenter, or a moderator. The only time I use guest access moderator is if I were to have like a guest lecturer, which I don't have in my office hours, obviously, but something like that is when I would allow them to be a moderator. I never really let my students be moderators. They just have too many privileges that way. So, because when they're a moderator, they can also kick other students, kick other people out of the session and that sort of stuff. So, I like to keep it right at presenter. And then just making sure that you have decided what kinds of privileges you want them to have in terms of if they are participants, whether they're going to be able to post chat messages or draw on the whiteboard or whatever else.
Can I ask a question about the dates?
Yes. What
you set up the date?
So if I were to set up mine, let's say I wanted it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And then on the repeat session, I would leave it, I would say, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then if you want it to end on a specific date, you can change that date. Maybe I want it to end, I think our last day is in, I think it's like December. So maybe I'll decide to let the students see me up until December 7th. So it will include that December 7th session, but it won't include anything after December 7th.
Right, so here's my question about so if I have office hours on different days and times, is there a way just to create one session to accommodate all of those as one link? Or would I just have to leave it as open-ended?
So not really. Yeah, you have to either create several sessions or you have to leave it relatively open-ended, and it's something that would encompass all of them. That is one of the difficulties. So you could set up a Monday session, Monday office hours and a Tuesday office hours or something like that.
Then I'd have all these different links for classes that don't have that housed in there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I would put those links in my in the information, what do they call it? Instructor information, faculty information link. That way it's durable and they always know where to find it. Put all of the links, Monday link, Tuesday link, Wednesday link, whatever it is. That way, if that's what you choose to do. I do find that students, if I have a session, like I will sometimes extend my session till 5 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. And if they see that my session's still open, even though they know that I get off work at 4, they will hop in. So that's one of the things that if you leave it open-ended, it becomes somewhat difficult, though I can show you a little bit of how to fix that with signs. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Now, is anyone, can you see the PowerPoint now? Or do I need to stop sharing and reshare?
We can see.
Oh, awesome. Great. So we just talked about that, and like Mr. Sculio said, you can change during a session. All you do is you find that particular person's name in the, hold on, let's go back to where my session is. Oh, sorry. So if you are looking in the list of attendees, right here, the 3 dots and a circle around, you can change their role there. So I could make myself a captioner. Obviously, I can't change my own role to a presenter or a participant, but if I had other people in this session, I could change them. All right, so back here. So one of the things that you will see is sometimes students come in and need to talk to you about something personal or private, their grades, whatever it is, and you don't want another student to come in and hear what is being said. The best way I've found to do that is to create a private room, and I use that using the breakout groups. You don't have to have more than 2 people in there, and you don't have to, and they can both be in the same group. So what I do is, going back to my office hours, I come over here to the share content and go to the breakout groups, and then I'm able to pull whoever I want into that group 1. And and then hit start, and while we are in that group, no one else is able to hear us that is not in that group. So it's a great way to be able to discuss something confidential. So you can still get notifications when students enter the office hours, but one of the things you need to know is when they enter the office hours, it'll say no one, it'll say main room, no one else is here. And so they will not know that you are in a session with somebody else. This is again where I like to use signs, and I'll show you the different signs that I use to let them know that I am here, and I'll finish, when I finish talking with the student, I'll come back into where they can discuss. You can also send a message to students while you're in there. If you click on, hold on, if you click on the chat room and you make sure you're on everyone and not on group 1, if you click on the everyone and say something, then it will go to the people who are also in the main room. So that's if you see someone enter, you can also just send them a quick message. Again, I like to make sure I use signs for that sort of thing as well, because sometimes my students will see no one there and then leave before I have a chance to type. I'm fast, but I'm not that fast. So those are just some things that I use for private rooms. Any questions so far?
Jenna, hi, this is Nancy Nugent. I like those signs as well. So when I do have a student who I need to speak privately with, and I set up those breakout rooms, then I have another sign that I put up that says specifically that I'm in a private room with another student, and I'll be with you in just a few minutes or something like that.
And Nancy, you know
oh,
exactly
I'm
what
sorry.
I'm
I was waiting.
No,
That's why I waited until the questions. I'm sorry.
wonderful. That was absolutely wonderful. So I like to create, I have a bunch of signs that I create. I have one here, which you can see that says, I'm in a private meeting with a student and I will return in in 30 minutes. My sessions with my students tend to be 30 minutes. And I want to show you how you can put a specific time on there nice and easy. So I go to my share files, and let's say I'm in a meeting and I want to tell them I'm in a meeting. So then I'm able to draw on this. And so I type on there, I will be back at 2 o'clock. Now that's awfully small. So what I do is then I resize it. So I go to my arrow, I click on it, and then I drag it to be bigger. And then everybody knows when I'm going to return back, and then they can decide whether they're just going to sit in the office hours or whether they're going to come back. I have one for in a private meeting with a student. I have one for in a tutoring session, because I run tutoring sessions for the nursing department. And I have one where I just say, I've stepped away from my computer. This is like for bathroom breaks, lunch, that sort of stuff. And then I also have one that just says, I'm unavailable to meet with students today. So you can get really creative with these. I use Microsoft Word to create mine, and I like lots of colors and stuff like that. One, because then I know which one I'm using, but also just because I like lots of colors, and it's fun for me. Questions about signs?
Jenna, I do have a question for the breakout rooms.
Uh-huh.
I break my students into 3 different groups, and I want to send a message just for one group, so I literally have to go into that group. Is there a way of sending a message, typing it, and we'll just shoot to that group, or I have to always go into that?
You have to go into the groups.
Okay.
So the Christine mentioned Calendly when we first came on, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. When I first started this, trying to do my office hours over online, and students wanted to make sure they had, time specifically carved out for them. They would send me a message, can I meet you at this time? And then I'd send them a message, no, I don't, I have a student then. They'd say, so what is your availabilities? I'd say, I'd send them my calendar, and then they'd say, can I have this time? And then by the time they emailed me back, someone had taken that time, and it really ended up a big, huge problem for me. So one of my coworkers talked about Calendly, and it is a free thing that you can do at calendly.com. And what I love about Calendly is that you can set up particular links for students to be able to meet with you. So in this case, like I said, I do 30-minute one-on-one sessions with students, and then I can sit there and I can edit that so that it will integrate with my Outlook calendar. So whenever a student books an appointment, they just find the empty spaces and they book the appointment, and it will send me an appointment, and then it'll send them a confirmation of their appointment, which they can confirm. And then I have it set up to where it will also send them a reminder that they have an appointment with me. So when I look at this, I put down the location being my Blackboard site, of course. You can also choose, let them choose some options. And I choose how long I want the sessions and what I want the name to be. 30 minutes is what I name mine. And what questions I want to ask them. This is also where you can put instructions or anything like that. So who can book? And then we talk about how long the session is. My sessions are 30 minutes, but you can customize it to whatever. And then you can have it just for a specific date range. Let's say you're trying to review tests with students or something like that. You only want from this day to this day available. You can do that. Mine's indefinite because I'm here Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 o'clock in the morning, 8 in the morning to 4 o'clock every day. So mine's pretty indefinite. And then you can change your availability. Like for instance, here we have a meeting from 12 to 2 every Monday or almost every Monday. So I don't allow that to be available. In the advanced settings, I can let them book in increments of 10 minutes. So it'll show up 8 o'clock, 8:10, 8:20, 8:30. And so they can choose that kind of time thing. I don't have a maximum number of events per day because however many students sign up with me is fine. But I do not let them sign up more than an hour ahead, before their session. So I don't want to suddenly have an appointment I didn't realize I would have. So you can do it, 12 hours, whatever you want. And then I want 5 minutes in between of my sessions so that I can take a quick breather and maybe go to the restroom or take a drink or something like that. So, and what that looks like for the students is, let me show you. So we're going to go view the live page. And here you can see that I'm not available today. And it looks like they've booked up all of tomorrow, but on the 29th, I have times, and then somebody could book it at 10:30, 10:40, or 10:50. And that would be a 30-minute session. And then on the next day, it's generating, and you can see November is a lot more open. My students don't tend to book too terribly much in advance. So those are really great options. Like I said, it is free. You can get a paid version, and of course the paid versions have more options to them. Going back to, so this is Calendly. It is a durable link that you can again put in your faculty information set thing so that students know exactly how to do it, and it will link up with your Outlook so that you can see what appointments have been booked and that sort of stuff. You have to go out to anything else to do it. All right, so questions about Calendly? Y'all are a very quiet group. Multiple courses, one office hour. So this is what I was talking with Mr. Schoolius about and what he does. Let's say you teach 3 different courses, and it's not something that you can merge together. They're different courses and they have different needs and that sort of stuff. Then you can, some people create 1 hour for one course and another hour for another course. But what if a student can make it to this other hour but it's not for their course? It makes it then difficult for students. If you create a guest link, so you allow guests and you create a guest link, this allows all of your students from all of your courses to attend your full office hours. Now, there are a couple of things you want to be careful about with that. Number one, you want to make sure that they're not sharing out that guest link. You want to impress upon them the importance of not sharing that guest link. Number two, when a student comes to see you during your office hours, if there is anything of a confidential nature, you're going to have to verify who they are, because if they use the guest link, anyone could put in any name in that guest link and pretend to be whomever. I could pretend to be Christine Holden using a guest link. So you want to make sure that if you've got a guest link, that you have verified the student in there in whatever way you want to, especially if you're talking about grades or talking about anything of that nature.
Ms. Sumner?
Yes.
So what's the process? I'm sorry, this is Derek Brown. I'm from the English department. What are some of the ways that you can verify students are who they are? I mean, you mentioned the the attendance link, but would that be a way to do it, or how would you?
No, because the attendance link will not. It will just record whatever they said. So the best way to verify that is to ask them their student ID number.
Okay.
And that way you're as sure as you can be. It's like when the doctor asks you what your date of birth is, that is a student, that is the student that you expect it to be. So that's a pretty good option. Anyone else have any other options for how to verify a student? Told you guys are really quiet. Yes.
No, I said no.
Oh, no. So let me look at my time, make sure I'm not too far. Okay. One of the other things that I have run into having to do is multitasking and attending more than one session at a time. Let's say that I am in a meeting, but I know that, and the meeting is running over. And I know that a student is on their way, but maybe they're not there yet. I may actually be in 2 Blackboard Collaborate sessions or more at a time. Or sometimes I am in a Blackboard Collaborate session helping to troubleshoot some students on testing while I'm also in my office hours in case somebody drops by. I may not need my full attention on the office hours since it's just if a student happens to pop in or drop by. Or I may not need my full attention on that testing because it's just if a student happens to have a problem with the lockdown browser or the monitor or anything else, then I can be monitoring both at one time. So one of the things that is important if you are trying to multitask and monitor more than one session at a time is that whichever session you intend to really be most present in, that's where you have your mic on and your camera if you choose. The other one, you want to make sure you have muted the mic and the camera. It won't, the mic will work in both places, but the problem with having it work in both places is if you shut down one of them, then the mic will stop working in the other one too, and you'll have to get out of the session and come back in before that mic will start working again. So if you have only one mic on at a time, then that problem doesn't occur. The other thing is that I like to put up a sign, and my favorite sign in that case is one that you guys have already seen. It's my welcome sign that tells them, hey, give a shout out, because I'm not necessarily focused in on who's coming in to my office hours. I may be looking at something else and not seeing who's coming in. So if they give a kind of auditory, hey, I'm here, then I know I need to shift my attention back to my office hours or whatever.
Hey, Jenna, could you repeat the mic piece again?
Sure. Okay, so let's say I have 2 sessions open, and I'll open another session is what I'll do. I have lots and lots and lots of things. So we're going to go to my department resources into the virtual classroom. And I'm just going to join a session that I know is probably not being used right now. So I think, yeah, that one was way back in July, and they just never closed it up. So if I join this session, and I have 2 sessions open. You can see that there are 2 sessions open at the same time. I want to make sure that whichever one that I am really interacting with the most is where my microphone is on. The other session, my microphone needs to be off. And the camera will only work 1 session at a time. And I'm not going to turn on the microphone now, because if I turn it on now, it may not allow me to talk to you guys while I'm in the Zoom session. So your computer only really likes to use one resource for one thing at a time.
Okay.
In terms of microphones and cameras.
All
So
right.
just make sure that whichever one you're in and actively with is the one where you've got the microphone on or the camera on, and that the other one is muted. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
No problem. And I'm going to get out of this in case somebody does want to use that session. So we talked about that. So let's talk about whiteboards. I love the whiteboard function. And if you got the college computer, it's even better now. So before we had the laptops that the college provided to the instructors, it was kind of cumbersome to try to use your mouse to write on the whiteboard. But now it's super easy. Well, it's much easier. We'll just go there. Because your whiteboard now, you can use a stylus to write on your whiteboard, and that makes your writing hopefully a lot easier to see. So I'm gonna get out of sharing files and I'm gonna share my whiteboard. There we go, and we'll get rid of that.
Just an FYI on the stylus, don't invest in an expensive one, because this is a non-stylus touchpad, a touch screen. You know, some laptops are compatible with stylus and some aren't. So this particular model, I had the first generation, the generation before it. So just the ones with a rubber tip.
Yep, that's
cheap
what I
ones,
have.
$1 or $2 will work. The more expensive ones may not work because they're specific to the other types of laptops.
I will tell you that the powered ones do work. I do have a powered one. I like to use the one with the rubber tip. One, because if I lose it, it's no problem. And
Wow.
it has a pen.
My powered one doesn't work on the college laptop. It only works on my my personal laptop.
Oh, how interesting. My powered one does work on it. I've used it at multiple times. I don't like the powered one as much because it has a hard tip, and you have to really make sure you have a screensaver on there so that you're not scratching up the screen. So if I wanted to draw on it, I'm using my stylus, and so now I am able to really draw a lot better. And then I showed you guys how to resize your font. So let's say I like to tell the students to ask the question why, and then so I will make it bigger. I use this arrow, and then I resize it, and then you can even tilt it. So those are some interesting things you can do. When I bring up my study sessions, I'll even underline the important parts and that sort of stuff. So I love using the whiteboard. But one of the things that I find that I use the whiteboard for that was unexpected is, I'm not sure if you guys realize this, but if a student comes into your, or if anybody comes into your office hours or your class or whatever, after you've put something up in chat, they don't see anything that's gone on before they enter your Blackboard Collaborate, including if they got kicked out and came back in, they won't see those things. So if I want something for all the students to know, let's say we met in Blackboard Collaborate Ultra to tell them their test instructions, and then I send them off to go take their test. And so maybe some of the students are late stragglers or whatever, or some of the students are early and want to get started early. then I might actually say, meet for class at 11:20. And maybe the password for the test is Jenna Rocks. And then I can leave this up for the students, and as they come in, I don't have to repeat it, and I don't have to put it in the chat several times or anything like that. They can see it. Now, what they can't do is copy and paste. So if you're doing a password that's super complicated, they won't be able to copy and paste from here, but they could see it. Any questions about the whiteboard? Oh, wrong one. There we go. So it's one of those things I say use it instead of chat for durability. So if it's something you want them to see over and over again, one of the things I use it for is I'll give the students my cell phone number if they have trouble during the test, and they're able to call me that way. Oh, the other thing is you can, when you're using a whiteboard, I'm sure you guys have noticed, you can't tell who wrote on it. So one of the things that I heard from another colleague that is a great idea is if you've got a small group of people, not many because there are only so many colors, you can assign each person a different color. And that way what they're writing on there, you'll know, oh, Jack did that, Quashan did that, whoever. Okay, so that's another great thing and that you can do to help distinguish who's who and that sort of thing. We are just about at the end. And we're going to hit just about at the right time. I'm not sure how much other things we're going to be able to go over. So the bonus part of this is I like to set up study rooms for my students to be able to have study groups that are without me. So what I do is I set up Blackboard Collaborate session, Ultra sessions. You'll see study room 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that are open 24/7. If they want to meet at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's fine with me. As long as I don't have to be there, we're good to go. And so they can meet at those times and really collaborate. I make them automatically presenters. That way they can share their screens and that sort of stuff. And then one of the big things is to advertise and to get students to use it, because I don't want them meeting face to face. I don't want them up at Starbucks trying to collaborate together. I'd rather them meeting in a virtual setting where they're going to be safe and able to still get their collaboration together. So that's something that you may want to consider doing. This is the end. So is there anyone who has any questions for me? Any other great ideas that you guys have?
My question was on the view reports for attendance.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Let me show you how to view the reports for the attendance. I will. So if you are back over here, when you first get in, hold on. When you first get into these sessions.
So Jenna, mine showed up on the course room unlocked. Is that where they should be?
Only if you use course room unlocked.
I don't use it.
Okay, so there are reports there, but you can go to anything, and I'm not going to go to the one there. I'm going to go to my site. And let's see, let's just say I want to know whether students are really using my study sessions.
Okay.
I can go to this study room number 1, and I can click right on that circle with 3 dots and click view reports. And there are the reports. Clearly, I've got 6 pages worth of students who have who have used it. So yay.
And these are prior sessions, right?
These are prior sessions. You do have to give it at least half an hour to kind of gather all the information, especially if you're also trying to look at a recording. And then I can just click view report. And well, everybody here is at PGCC, so please no, because it's going to be on YouTube. So we're not going to do that. So if you click on view report, you'll be able to see the students' names and who was there. And then you can also, on the left-hand side, there'll be an option for, oh, you know what? I know what we can do.
Are you able to see view reports from the saved videos? You know what I mean?
No. When you go to the recordings, all you're really seeing is the recording.
Okay.
So when you go to the recordings, you can see watch now. You can download if you've made that an option. You can copy a link so that you can give it to somebody else. I do tell my students that they're not allowed to give my recordings out to anyone else because for privacy reasons. And then if you have a caption source like Otter AI, then you can always do Otter AI or whatever to caption it as well.
So you don't have to view the report before the session ends. It would.
You cannot view the report before the session ends.
Oh, that's right. That would make sense, right?
So let's say I'm going to stop this session right here.
Okay.
Leave the session.
Okay.
Yes, excellent. Woohoo. And then I'm going to go into my sessions, so what we normally see. And I would go into view reports. And today is the 27th, yes?
Yep.
Yes. So I was in there for 7 minutes at 11:33, and I could click that view report. Oh no, I wasn't in there. Sorry. Clearly, some other people have been in my sessions today.
Jenna, 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Thank you, Cecilia.
Can I make a comment real quickly?
Yes, please.
Gentleman? So once you click on a session, sometimes when you have a class of like 20 students, when you click view report, the first page will only be like 7 students. And then you click the next page and next page. But there's an option all the way to the left called tools, printable. And if you click printable, it lists them all on one page for you. So you don't have to scroll from page to page.
So you can see that clearly. Let me see. Nope. My students have been in my sessions looking for me during college professional development.
And then also there's another option, export to Excel document.
Yes,
so it'll actually put them all together there, and you'll have that day's attendance already saved as an Excel document.
So I know, for instance, I'm pretty sure this was me. Yes, this was me. So you can click on printable, and that's a PDF, or you can export to CSV, which is an Excel.
And that Excel is better only because the reports are based on who entered the classroom first. Whereas with the Excel, you could change and sort by alphabetical name. So this way that can match up to your roster.
Yes.
So Jenna, can I reach you offline and just want to? It would take no more than 10 minutes to share my screen with you. Something's not right.
Okay. Yeah, you can absolutely reach me offline. Okay.
I'll just shoot
you
an
email.
I'll shoot you an email. Thank you.
No problem. All right, guys. Thank you so much for attending. I'm overwhelmed and thrilled that you guys might have found it useful. Does anyone have any last questions? We have 1 minute left.
Work.
Thanks, Jenna.
No problem. You guys have a great day.
And remember, in Outlook, she is Jennifer Underwood.
In Outlook, I am Jennifer Underwood, not Jenna.
Okay, thank you.
Great session, Jenna.
Thank you.
I learned
Thanks, Jenna. Was